everyone, welcome back. And it is now finally time for FIA. The wait is over, Manufacturer Series is here, first round, Interlagos in the Group 3s. Now obviously I have chose the Peugeot, so if you saw me on stream, you would have seen I had 2 races and then I jumped off, and then I did this race off air, and this was the better one out of the 3. So as we get into the qualifying lap, you want to get out and you want to have a good banker lap. I mean, I set a 157, which is it doesn't matter, but it was a matter of staying with a car. So like you want to be with a car, but you don't want to be too close because you don't want to. I don't want to overtake this guy in front, Benice. You don't want to be overtaken on your qualifying lap because that's going to slow you down. So you want to stay in a range where you're going to gain from their slipstream. So as we get into the twisty section of the track, the Peugeot felt absolutely amazing. It honestly just drives so well. The softs and the mediums, it feels great. The hards, for me, it struggles on the hards. It might just be where I'm not quite used to the wheel and the car setup yet, but it's just such a solid car. As we go down the back straight, see now we're really taking advantage of that slipstream. As we go over the line and we set a 1:31.287, and that puts us into P2. Getting into the race, starting from the front. Now if you watch the stream, you would have seen my second race. I started in P2, and I couldn't quite close the gap enough. I did the wrong strategy. So the first race I did 5 softs, I believe, and then 5 softs at full pace, and then I came in for mediums, fuel saving, and then came in for hards and went full pace again. So I watched the guy who won that race, and he did 7 mediums, and I think he did 6 softs, and then 8 or 9 hards or whatever it was. So I thought, right, I will mimic his strategy. I figured it worked for him, so it should work for me. So halfway through lap 1, we're staying with the leader. That's what we want. We got a nice gap to P3 already. Mike Oxlong in P3. Interesting, very interesting name. So Mike Oxlong is in P3 at a gap of 1.6 already, and then lap 1's not even finished. So if me and this guy can sort of just pull away from the pack, happy days. I've got no intention of overtaking him at this point. I just want to settle into the race, find our rhythm, and let's kind of work together and let's pull away, and we'll have a race later on. As we get lap 1 completed, we got a nice gap behind us. The race is going well so far. I'm fuel saving, so I'm on the mediums and I was in fuel number 2. You want the fuel to last to lap 14 and beyond if possible. Raced my second race on stream. What I was doing was I was on as we come through that first chicane, I was flicking it into fuel 2, and then I was flicking it back to fuel 1 on the home straight to try and sort of keep up with the pace, because that's when you're in the twisty section, you don't need as much power. So again, when I came into pit for fuel, I'd used too much. I was in the pits longer, and with this new update, the pit times are just absolutely barbaric. So it's literally, you want to spend as little time in the pits as possible. So if you can fuel save, then you're going to have to fuel save. Now obviously we're in fuel 2 and we're staying behind this guy, so we're going to be in his slipstream. So as you can see, I'm not trying to overtake him. I want to use his slipstream. I want to save fuel. I want to conserve my tyres. I just want to get, on my first pit stop, I want my car to be in a better condition than him, so that when we come out of the pits, I've got the jump on him. So the gap's at 0.6, which is, I'm still in slip range. It's nice. We're finding our groove. We're trying to pull away from the pack. As lap 2 comes to an end, very much the same position as lap 1. The gaps are almost the same. There's been no drama. I haven't been executed at the first bend, like my first race, as we skip ahead to lap 4. So if you look in the rearview mirror, you see a fellow Peugeot come absolutely steaming through. Now, I got a feeling that that guy is not fuel saving, because he's overtaken Mike Oxlong, come past me, and now he's hunting down P1. So yeah, I reckon he's on softs and fuel number 1. I reckon his strategy is out and out. Let's just have it. Who cares about pit stops? It doesn't matter. I want to be up front. I didn't even try and fight the overtake. I just, yeah, you can go, buddy, because I got a feeling that when you come in the pits, we're gonna come straight past you. So I'm still in fuel number 2. Still trying to conserve tyres and fuel. Now, if I can stay behind this guy, even better, because P1 sort of got a little bit of a gap on me. He's a bit more consistent than me, so he got away. I couldn't stay in his slipstream, so now this guy is my windbreaker. You are going to be my fuel saving buddy. I'm going to stick behind you for as long as I can. I don't want to overtake. Patience is key. It's a long race. I had one very shocking race. I got destroyed second lap, first bend. I got absolutely wiped clean out. If you haven't seen it, it's honestly worth just watching it for that 30 seconds. I will drop a link somewhere to the description. As we skip ahead, we go into serious fast forward mode, and we head through lap 5 as we nearly overtake him there. This guy is out and out pace, but I don't think he's a better driver than me. I think I had more pace than him, but his strategy was just speed and speed alone, whereas he dives into the pits. So we take P2 back. It all falls back into line where it should be. As we come to the end of lap 7. Now, what is happening in lap 7? That's my first pit stop. We're both diving into the pits. Now the gap, 1.1 as we come into the pits. We're both on 50 fuel, so we've both saved the same amount. But as we come out, I am a lot closer than 1.1 seconds. So either he fueled, well, he must have fueled because I didn't. So now it's softs and maximum power. Let's just go. We're going to do, I think, as we get as Mike Oxlong tries to force his way through, gives us a little nudge. And then sort of drops back a little bit and gives us the space. So yeah, so so I think it was 6 laps on the softs. After that, on fuel 1, they really, you could honestly start to feel them deteriorating. So it's now all systems go. I'm not gonna, if I can get past him, it's happening. We're gonna get past him, but we have got a little bit of traffic. But if you look at the order, so P7, P6, P7 and P8, that's 1, 2 and 3. We are a pit stop ahead of everyone else. So once they all come in, we should all realign back into the order that we was already in. So as we get our first lap of our second stint over and done with, we're not close enough for a move, I don't think, here, although we are in the slipstream. As one car dives into the pits, 2 car dives into the pits. Now we skip to lap 11. We are in touching distance. We are so close. We can, I mean, that livery, absolutely bonkers. It is, you get close enough to it, you want to back away because it's so frightening. It's a very, very smart tactic, I should say. But nevertheless, we try and get the move done, and it's not going to happen there. Now, P3, Mike and his long ox, he has dropped back to about 2.7, so haven't really got any worries that we're going to be overtaken. This is just a battle now for P1 and P2, I feel. We've got one more pit stop to come, though. That's the problem. And I believe it is coming up very soon, as we just cannot find a way through. As we get very, very close, I have to brake insanely hard not to ruin both our races. Now, this is a very good position to be in. We are, 0.1 of a second, we're coming onto the home straight. If I can just stay here, stay with him, and hopefully use his slipstream to sling. Look at that livery, my god, there's a lot of teeth on the back of that car. As we try and get past him, we almost go side by side, but I'm not. I was too close to gain from the slipstream, if that makes sense, because if you're about 0.34 back, you can use that 3/4 of a second to just slingshot your way past him. When you're that close, you haven't got enough room to get the slip and then to pull out and then to get past him. So as we start lap 12, I sort of drop back a little bit, kind of frustrating. And now we've got to do that all over again. We've got to try and we've got to try and close that gap all over again. But we carry on. I was fairly confident that I had the pace over him. I think he was more consistent. The Porsche is better on tyres and on fuel than the Peugeot. But with the way that I keep closing him down, I feel like as if I just had the pace marginally, but he was a lot more consistent. Kudos to him. Insanely consistent, just kept it together. Very little mistakes. Great car, great strategy, consistent driver. You've got to be on your A game to get past him. And today, right now, lap 12, I hadn't quite found my rhythm. When it all came together, I could close him down in insane amounts, but then I'd crumble, I'd bottle it, and that'd be the end of it. So we come to the end of lap 12, P3 miles away. We're still not quite close enough for the overtake, as we are going to end our second stint. So we come in on lap 12, we're going to bin the softs with the hards, top up the fuel. Now, final stint, and that's it. It is now to the end, same tyres. So it's fuel number 1. We are going ultimate power on the hards. Got to be careful. Like I said, I'm not too sure. Not too sure in these hard tyres, as we come out and we've got a bit of traffic. Now, if you look at P1, that's the Porsche. He is still there. He did not pit. So this is where our strategies differ a little bit, where his was just a tiny bit better. I should have probably stayed out with him and then come in when he comes in. And we sort of do the same strategy, and then it's just out and out who's the better driver. But I tried something different. So as we've got so we've got P2, 3, 4 and 5 who are on different strategies. So we've got to just bide our time, be patient. We know they're going to come in for a pit stop. If we can get past some of them before their pits, excellent. As they are going to slow us down ever so slightly if I can't get past them, and that's going to gain as P1. Look, he comes in the pits, so he's on 22% fuel, so he's going to have to top up and put the hards on. Mike and his long ox have come in as well, so that's P1, 2 and 3. We should all be on our final stints now, as we still can't get past P2 here. Danny 199410. Don't know what that stands for. I don't know what that could even. 1994 October. Let's just say that, shall we? As now, where is P? So P1. The Porsches came out back into P1. Now that is where his strategy has worked better, because I've still got traffic. I still have got to get past 2 cars before I can even think about getting near the Porsche. Mike has come out in P6. He's got 1 car of traffic, but I don't think we've got to worry about that. As we get underway, get halfway through lap 14 and we start the twisty section. Now, this is probably one of my strongest points, where a lot of people don't know the track limits. Now, if you know track limits at Interlagos, I'm telling you, you're going to be above. You're going to have more pace than most people. You can really take liberties with the curbs. So, for instance, the first chicane, you can go all 4 tyres outside the white line and you won't get a penalty. There's 2 banking right-handers. The first one is a right-hander, then it comes into a left hairpin. That first right-hander, you can take liberties there and you can insanely cut the corner. And then the second one, you can do the same. If you take advantage of them, you will easily gain half a second to even maybe a second if they make a mistake. As we get past P3 there, and then he takes it straight back. Gives us a little love tap. I don't mind. It's fine. We lose a little bit of time. So now P1 is increasing his lead on us. So, because we're still a pit stop, our pit stops are all not lined up. So P1 and P2 and P3 have still got to come in. So that's what I was talking about in terms of it just slows us down. If we get caught up fighting these slower guys, ideally, in an ideal world, I'd like for him to just not necessarily slow down and ruin his race, but just let me past when he can, because this is not a battle for position. As I have to force my way through, and we get P3 back. So now as we come, so that was the first set of the liberty taking corners. This is the second liberty taking corner, as I don't really take advantage of it there, but you can really go across that curb and it don't punish you for it, which is quite strange when you look at other tracks and you see, for instance, Daily Race C at the minute, Le Saf. Track limits there absolutely barbaric. No one even knows where the limit is. You've got the white line, and then you've got about 400 foot, and then you've got a curb. As we got underway, as we finished lap 15, the BMW is going to swing it into the pits, and now we're all going to realign into chronological order. Great word that, chronological, love that. As we go super duper fast forward mode yet again, we travel at crazy speeds. Now, at the beginning of lap 16, that gap between me and P1 was about 4 seconds. Now you watch, that slowly comes down. So it is now at around 3 seconds. It's now within the 2s. And that just keeps coming down and down and down. So that tells me that we definitely, if we could have, our strategies would have been aligned, and I didn't get caught up in traffic, that I reckon we could have had him. Like earlier in the race, I reckon we could have had him after our pit stops on the hards. I reckon within 2 laps, I reckon we could have had him. As it is now lap 18, and the gap is just 2 seconds. So as we stop lightning speeds, we go to regular speeds. We got lap 19, lap 20, 2 laps. The gap is about 2 seconds. Now, what can we do? Can we get the win? It's questionable, because 2 seconds, when you think I've got to gain a second a lap. Now, that don't, in my head, that don't seem like a lot, but when I think about it, that's generally quite a big gap. He's either got to make an incredible error, or I've got to put on my Lewis Hamilton gloves and drive like a maniac. Now I don't really know how his race went. I can't really tell if he makes a mistake. Judging on his previous racing from earlier in the race, I'd say he's very solid. I think his tyres may have just gone a little bit, made a few tiny little errors, and I was able to close the gap to at least 1.4 halfway through lap 19. Now, I need to get within 0.75 of a second to gain that slip. If I can get that, we are going to reel him in ever so slowly. As stupidly, so the hards there, I was on the power too eager, and I did it again there. So now it's my turn to make the silly mistakes. As I could have done without that little wheel spin there and the back stepping out a little bit, because I've now lost some time. So now the gap's at 1.2. Last lap. Now I've got to close a second, so I've closed 0.8 of a second in 1 lap. Now I've got to do 1.2. So this is a big ask. As we cut the corner here, that's what I'm talking about. We really take liberties. The big left-hander. Easy on the power. I don't want to touch that white line and just slingshot me into a million 360s. As we break up the curb into gear 2, ride the curb, and we're going to power out into the middle sector. Now, at this point, I'm thinking that's it, P2, that's mine. I'm not going to get anything. He's too far away. As he takes a very tight line there. Which does, you'd think the tighter the line, the quicker you're going to be, but that slows you down, as I take super advantage of that liberty curb. Now we're in slip range, 100%. We're in 0.5 of a second. So we're going to brake at the green stuff. We're going to go into gear 1, Now, I could have taken a lot more of the curb there and would be a lot closer, but I just couldn't. I misjudged it all and got my angles all wrong. So now, we got one bent to go. We can see every single one of his teeth. Every single one of them. Right, it's now a case of slipstream. Now, this is what I'm talking about, where when you're too close to someone, so I have to come back in because I'm too close to him to gain anything from the slip. I needed to be about 0.3 or 4 so I could gain, come on. Oh, 0.02 of a second. Now, let's watch that back because that was insane. That's been all. Thanks a bunch for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.